Thank you for joining me today. This is Candid Talks, and my name is Shone. It's been a little while since I've recorded an audio, and, well, I have recorded two. However, I've held those two back, perhaps not held them back, but they are currently unpublished. I just feel that recently there has been a very strong, overpowering energy trying to overpower everyone, and I recognize that my energy to shield myself and the world around me from that energy is of course consuming parts of my energy. And so the feelings that I've had recently, essentially, I've spent my energy dealing with that, perhaps, as opposed to talking. When I create these audios, they, in a sense, consume my energy. Like I feel fatigued after them, which is an interesting thing. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today was something that also equally to my other three projects that I've talked about, and perhaps to everything that I imagine could possibly be. This particular one, though, would be a physical marketplace. And in this physical marketplace, we would encourage the community to start manufacturing and producing all of their own items, from their own soaps to their own cleaners to their own remedies to their own arts and crafts and tools and repairs and whatever else it could possibly be. Now, I know we have these, and they're called farmers markets, which pop up in areas where tents come up, and one day they're there and most days they're not. And there are other repair fairs and such, and there's perhaps around the world different areas where there's markets. So it's very possible that this idea does already exist to a degree, or maybe even somewhere, perhaps if I speak it out into the air right now, it helps contribute to creating it already to be a reality. And that would be great, because if there was someone out there that was doing something similar, if they were to show on a video, perhaps publish it on the UNN field messengers about what attempts they're making at creating this. But my idea is to have a physical marketplace which is architecturally designed. I don't know if that's the right word, but to be designed by an architect, in the sense that it would be community run, community driven, and designed with certain aspects in mind. And the idea of this is that, as opposed to having Walmart and other big box stores come in and sell everything and take away from business from us, that we can bring business back, so we can designate an area that is somewhat like a mall, in a sense of there are stalls set out throughout a nicer area, park and such, where people can have booths. And these booths perhaps are stationary. They're perhaps built into the park, and people are able to go online and reserve them and sell their goods from them, supporting the community. And perhaps there is no rental fee, for example, in the sense that we're supporting a local economy, and we want to create an environment where we can encourage people to, well, I guess I'm slowing down, because whether they're rented or not rented, or perhaps a portion of the sales turns into their rent. But what it would allow is for the people to start making a comeback of having a living from selling exclusively what they're desiring to create. So a painter could exclusively sell their paint, and they would have an environment where they could be there multiple days. And here's where more ideas bounce off, is that not only would they be stationary designed within the domain of a park, they would also be reservable. So you could reserve the stall, and then through technology, you could inform your customers, your potential clients, perhaps if there's some sort of advertising or social media connected to the whole event, and your specific clients could be informed that you were going to be there at a certain amount of time. And perhaps you could even add on inventory structure to the app. So we could possibly get into a world where we respect one another time so much that if we want to buy something from someone, that we arrive at a appropriated appointed time and we pay for the goods and pick it up, rather than sitting around all day hoping that someone's going to come by and buy something. Perhaps if we're not buying as much and we are concerning ourselves with the quality of what we buy, so therefore we don't have to buy it more often, then we will definitely have more time to do other things. And perhaps making a system where a person who's going to sell their product could perhaps be there for 8 hours a day, one time per week, and spend the rest of their time creating their product, but have a system set up that they're still going to receive sales because their customers know that they'll be there that one time a week. And it also allows for people to spend less time sitting there waiting for customers. If they're scheduled one time per week, they will have their clients come there that one time per week because the clients are respecting the vendor's time. And that therefore allows the vendor to be profitable in the sense that they're not having to hire someone to sit around all day waiting to sell their product, that it's strictly from producer to client. Now, what else would there be with that idea? So we've got the marketplace. There's a lot more advantages to having it, that a person's local economy is locally driven. And that includes the manufacturing. And when I say local, of course, local doesn't necessarily mean to have to be municipal or a city. It's just that things are imported locally, and the web all around the world of manufacturing and producing is perhaps a little more close-netted, I think would be the right word to say, and that it creates a stronger effect and a stronger unity of the community. And it also makes things cost less. See, people don't know that a big part of the reason why things cost the way they do cost is because they're shipped all over the place. And excuses of why things have to be shipped are so many different reasons, but regardless of the excuses they do it ups the price of that currency. Sorry, not of the currency. It ups the price of that product. So when you have to create something in a factory in one side of the country or one side of the world, and then for some reason it needs to be shipped, as opposed to just opening up a factory or perhaps having a factory build a product. Like, imagine this, for example, of if there's a technology such as a TV, having everyone come together to create the best possible products, and then building factories around the area which build that product until that product is made obsolete. And then those factories are just tooled over to change it to the next technology that comes out, rather than having constant fighting back and forth between big box entities about whose product is a little bit better. That's a lot of attention to spend. But anyways, that's off on a super side note. But I regress, or I go back to, I return to. So that was off on a little side note. So I returned to the idea that this marketplace would be a great place that supports the communities and growing. And here's another thing I want to add on to this. The ability for this to be rented doesn't just permit locals to do it, also allows for people who are traveling through communities, moving vagabonds, if you want to say that, or hippies, or free love people, or roamers, nomads, however word we want to describe them as. There's a group of people, and I would love to be one of those people who will live a life and are living lives where they're just rolling through. And this market would allow people to support themselves. They could create things while they're on the road. And then when they get into town, they could sell different things that they have found, assuming we're going to keep a monetary economy going forward. But the point is it supports all different types of people, all different lives and missions and experiences. And I really do think that the more experiences that we support, the more we allow people to express themselves as individuals, as who they feel they are in that moment. If we support that and everyone respects each other's boundaries, then I think that we do have a large opportunity to heal. And yeah, if we could just get a large group of people, get together, design an area, you have stalls located throughout that area, which are reservable, which are open to anyone selling their product at a very minimal cost, something that sustains the whole production. And these booths are reservable. There would be an app that would allow for that specific park, perhaps, to let people know and inform people and perhaps include inventory and maybe even sales and sales receipts. And that would allow for perhaps the profit sharing that the vendors would support the whole thing. And the actual park itself would essentially be run by sovereign, authentic people. So it means that the tasks of looking after the park, after the physical marketplace, those tasks would be completed by the actual marketplace participants, means the vendors themselves. So the cleaning, the upkeep, the maintenance, it would be essentially a community. And everyone involved would participate. And essentially it would be bringing together the community to support the community and sell to the community and buy from the community. And of course, those people who were traveling through that we were supporting as well. And I know, of course, we're going to jump into the fear factor of people passing through, but a lot of what we see or what we fear, be aware, is from the movies. It's from all that programming of movies. Like, we wouldn't even have the ability to create a lot of that stuff if we hadn't seen it first in the movies. So, yeah, a marketplace where everyone can prosper, everyone can do the things they love and prosper from that, as opposed to working at jobs which were life-sucking. And with the rest of the time, we can all focus on perhaps healing or reading or writing or something creative. As I've mentioned before, creative arts is very important, or perhaps essential maybe, for the creation of our new world, that we all get into the habit of creating something and connecting with Earth. But that's going off on more tangents. So I hope this Candid Talks was pleasurably received, and I would love to do this project as well of a marketplace. And perhaps these Candid Talks aren't necessarily perhaps these Candid Talks won't be exactly my business plan for any of these projects. However, I would love to get together with like-minded people and find a way. I would love to find a group of people and find funding to complete these projects and more. I would love to be a part of massive change. So let's do it. All right. Have a good night.